Austin Hill has finally broken his silence after NASCAR's controversial decision on Shane van Gisbergen. Because that's exactly what's happening between Austin Hill and Shane van Gisbergen. After their controversial clash at Chicagoland, NASCAR reviewed every angle, listened to both sides, and made one decision that immediately divided the garage. Some fans believed SVG should have been penalized. Others argued it was nothing more than hard racing. But while NASCAR officially closed the case, Austin Hill clearly wasn't ready to move on. Now Austin Hill is revealing exactly what he thinks happened. NASCAR has explained why it refused to punish SVG, and both drivers have already been called in for a private discussion before the next race weekend. So if NASCAR believes no rules were broken, why is this rivalry still getting so much attention? And could this story be far from over? Stay with us until the end, because we'll break down Austin Hill's response, NASCAR's reasoning, Shane van Gisbergen's reaction, and why Kyle Busch's situation has unexpectedly become part of this entire conversation. The incident itself didn't take long to become one of the biggest talking points after the race. Late in the event, Austin Hill and Shane van Gisbergen were battling hard when contact between the two drivers ended Austin Hill's race. Within minutes, social media exploded. Some fans believed SVG intentionally turned Austin Hill. Others insisted it was simply the result of two aggressive drivers refusing to give each other any extra room. As the debate continued, everyone waited for NASCAR to decide whether the move crossed the line. That review didn't happen overnight. Officials looked through the available camera angles, gathered data, and carefully evaluated whether SVG had violated NASCAR's rules regarding intentional retaliation. In the end, NASCAR decided there wasn't enough evidence to issue a penalty. But while NASCAR closed the disciplinary side of the incident, Austin Hill made it clear that he saw the situation very differently. When speaking about the contact, Austin Hill didn't try to hide his frustration. He dismissed the idea that he had done anything unusual leading up to the incident. As Austin Hill put it, "If I have to explain it, people probably need to get glasses." Austin Hill believed he was simply racing the way competitors race every single week. He also addressed criticism that he had been blocking too aggressively before the incident. According to Austin Hill, everyone blocks everybody's air off. In Austin Hill's view, what happened before the contact wasn't anything outside the normal style of NASCAR racing. At the same time, Austin Hill avoided demanding punishment publicly. Instead, he said, "I'll leave it in NASCAR's hands." That statement showed he was willing to let officials make the final decision, even if he clearly disagreed with how the race ended. When NASCAR eventually announced there would be no penalty, many expected the story to end there. Instead, it only created another round of debate. Some fans praised NASCAR for allowing drivers to race aggressively without stepping in after every incident. Others questioned whether the decision might encourage drivers to push the limits even further in future races. NASCAR, however, explained that simply choosing not to penalize someone doesn't mean officials ignore what happened. Senior NASCAR executive Mike Ford explained that the sanctioning body still wanted both Austin Hill and Shane van Gisbergen to meet with officials. As Ford explained, "We want to have a discussion and make sure that it doesn't boil over." That comment may have been the most important part of NASCAR's entire response. Officials weren't saying the incident deserved punishment. Instead, they wanted to make sure emotions from Chicagoland didn't carry into future races and create an even bigger problem. That approach isn't unusual. NASCAR has often preferred having direct conversations with drivers before rivalries escalate into repeated retaliation on the racetrack. Shane van Gisbergen also addressed the incident. Rather than fueling the controversy, SVG admitted the contact wasn't something he wanted to happen. He simply said, "Sorry about that. It happens." That response matched the explanation NASCAR ultimately accepted. SVG acknowledged the outcome without suggesting there had been any deliberate attempt to wreck another competitor. He also joked about speaking with Austin Hill afterward, saying, "I'll talk to him, but he just grunts." The comment added a little humor, but it also showed the relationship between the two drivers is still far from comfortable. Even with NASCAR's decision now official, it's obvious this rivalry hasn't completely cooled down. Austin Hill still believes he was racing normally. SVG maintains it was simply part of hard competition. NASCAR believes the evidence wasn't strong enough to justify penalties. Those three viewpoints don't fully agree, and that's exactly why this story continues to generate discussion. The bigger question now is what happens the next time these two drivers find themselves racing side by side. Every close pass between Austin Hill and SVG will now receive far more attention than it would have before Chicagoland. That's exactly why NASCAR wanted both drivers in the hauler. Not because someone had already crossed the line, but because officials want to prevent another situation that could force them to make a much tougher decision later in the season. And just when this rivalry was dominating headlines, another major storyline emerged involving Kyle Busch. With Busch unavailable, Austin Hill has stepped into the spotlight in even more ways, drawing additional attention to everything happening around Richard Childress Racing. That means every comment, every on-track battle, and every decision involving Austin Hill is now being watched more closely than usual. Instead of the focus staying only on SVG, attention has expanded to Austin Hill himself and how he responds moving forward. Whether this rivalry settles down or grows into one of NASCAR's biggest storylines of the season will likely depend on what happens the next time these two drivers share the same piece of racetrack. One thing is certain, NASCAR has made its decision. Austin Hill has made his feelings clear. Shane van Gisbergen has given his response. Now the only thing left is seeing what happens when they meet again. And if Chicagoland taught us anything, it's that the next chapter could be even more dramatic than the first. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to NASCAR Nation News, and let us know in the comments, did NASCAR make the right decision by not penalizing Shane van Gisbergen? Or do you think Austin Hill had every reason to be upset? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.